All right, planting a tree today. First thing to do is dig a hole. I wish everybody would have as good a soil as I've got. This is the best soil for planting. I typically dig holes by hand, not with an auger. And the reason I prefer our hand over an auger is because the auger usually goes too deep. It's hard to control how deep you want to get. By hand you can do it pretty easily. Even if you have a couple dozen trees or 30 or 40 trees, I still would rather you have a hand crew digging holes than having an auger doing it and making them too deep. So we don't want our trees too deep in the ground, because what happens is they suffocate. The soil gets up around the trunk and it starts to rot, and then the tree can't breathe and then it dies. You check the hole. It's a little high. It's probably right where I want it though. I don't want it low. The next thing you do is take the bag off. It's really simple. Cut. And turn around and cut the other side. You lay a tree down, rip one side, tree over, the other side, rip it off. It's a lot easier with our new trees. We have bags with handles now, so place it in. That's just about where I want it to be. You don't want, if it was lower down in the hole, it would settle even more. So you want that root flare to be at ground level or just slightly above, like this is. And then you just fill back in with dirt, crumble it up. That's what I like to do. You don't want the hole supersized. A lot of the guidebooks say to make the hole 2 to 3 times as wide. By doing it the same size or just slightly around the same size, then you don't have to worry about those roots getting stuck in that soil, or that nice loose soil. As soon as they get out of that, they'll get into this, to the packed soil, and they'll grow faster into it, and they'll root in a lot faster. And I don't add compost to the soil. I would fine with adding compost afterwards as mulch, but not as filler for the soil itself. Unless you have a really bad soil, like maybe a sandy soil, might consider that. And then as you go, just like to tamp it lightly with my fingers. I don't like stomp on it. I don't want to see anybody stomping on trees. That's not a good idea. It'll break roots. It'll compact the soil too much. And then as you go, you can either take all the extra soil away. What I'd like to do is make a little ring around it. They go, and that ring will hold moisture in for the first year. It'll disappear over time. It won't. If you make it really high, it'll be a problem. But this first year, it's not a big deal to have a little ring of soil around it. You can use the grass and roots and stuff. It just helps you for when you're watering it. All the soil I got. And when you're watering it, you want to just set a trickle on here. If you have enough pressure, you can put your hose down into it and force the water in there, but I like to just set a trickle on here and let it fill up. What it will do, if it's really loose soil and not very wet, it'll soak in and then it'll start running over, and that's when you take the hose off. If it just runs over right away, then you probably got pretty wet soil or pretty compacted soil. So if it starts running over within a few minutes, you take it off, come back maybe 10 minutes later and do it again, just so it gets enough water for that first initial planting. And then when you're coming back to water it the second time, you do the same thing. And I will check by sticking my finger down the hole. If it's moist and wet, don't water it. If it's dry to the end of your finger, then you need to water. And now for staking it, for a smaller tree like this, I prefer just to use fiberglass rod. This. And we've always had different ways of doing it, but I like it to be as close to the top of the tree as possible so that the top doesn't rock as much. The goal here is to keep the top of the tree from rocking too much that it pulls the whole tree out of the hole. Another way to do this, if you don't mind doing it, or if the customer doesn't mind, is to stick it right through the root ball. But on a smaller tree like this, it's easier to stake it up top. And you just take your tie, and you wrap your tie around the tree first. And then you grab the long end around. I did that wrong. There we go. You bring your long end all the way around the second time. And then back through the back of your tie. Pull it tight. Put it through. And then you're done. And you can mulch it. I think this will be mulched later, so good to go.